Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. You're watching Arnold Holonet News, the only news you'll ever need. Because you have no other choice. But it's all good, because what other choices do you really need out there? Today, we got a couple things we're going to talk about. Pretty big news. We have a world's first maxed out, pretty much 100% completion of the collection level inside of Marvel Snap. We're going to talk about how much it took to get to this level. Wasn't me. And looking at this makes me feel, you know what? I'm getting some pretty good value out of Marvel Snap if it costs this much to get all the way to max collection. I didn't even think it was possible. And after this, I want to talk about something coming from an Infinite player. We just had Infinite a while ago. Something that kind of bothers me, and I hope it gets fixed in the future. There's about 2 or 3 things that I want to discuss here. But let's get into the big thing that you probably are here for, in case you missed it. Man, this is making its way through the Snapverse right now. So there's this individual, I believe his name was Leviathan, and they got to 22,372 collection level. Holy cow. And there's a few things to put on your radar here. His name was Aaron too, by the way. One thing I want to put out there is that they did not get to 22,000 when this whole collector token, collector's reserve thing started out. They technically started out around 16,000, and they progressed 6,000 collection level to hit this cap. Now, for me personally, I had the suspicion that there was this repeating code. It's the same formula. You got credits, boosters, collector's reserve. Credits, boosters, collector's reserve. And I thought it was just kind of a recycled thing. Like it just keeps copying, pasting. Apparently not. And the developers have said that this is kind of this is going to be a world's first. So kind of interested to see that happen. Boy, just the amount of money it took to get there. But here we go on Discord. Yeah, his name is Aaron. The reward track currently ends at collection level 22,366, and no rewards can be obtained beyond this level, even though the collection level can still increase. Is the CL reward track cap going to be increased anytime soon? And Steven said, thanks for sharing, impressive achievement. Think we can call it a world's first. We will extend it in a future update. So the next big update's coming around January 31st. We're going to have the series drop, sandbox mode, player versus player, sandbox mode, tournament mode, whatever you want to call it. That's going to be coming out here shortly. So maybe they'll do that. I suspect it's not going to be a hard problem, but seeing this is probably one of the bigger spenders in the game. There's probably a little bit more bigger spenders out there. It's got to be a little frustrating. You spent this much money. They allegedly spent about $5,000 to get here, which sounds about right to get to this. And that one interesting tidbit that some people are taking a little bit out of context, apparently they didn't get any Series 5 cards when they got to that max level there, which I think is a little bit out of context. You only get about 1 every 5,000. You get a 1 Series 5, roughly 1 every 5,000 collection level. Some people are going to get a little bit more. Some people are going to get a little bit less. This person happened to get a little bit less. So that seems to be about within the normal range of what it's going to happen. Remember, you have an average, but you have the extremes on both ends of the spectrum. But what I want to do is take you guys over here and talk about how much did it cost to get to this level. Now, I've told people a few things. You can enjoy this game for free. You can enjoy this game, I think, a lot more just by buying the battle pass and call it a day. That $10 a month. I mean, I just did a video of Mobile Gamer. We talked a lot more about the economy system inside of Marvel Snap. I'll leave a card if you want to go watch us talk about it. But one way to look at it is, you spend how much money? 20, 30, 40, 50 plus dollars to go to a movie theater, and you're done watching the movie after about 2-3 hours, right? At the $10 battle pass, if you're playing this game a lot, that's multiple months of enjoyment. Black Panther, Silver Surfer, Zabu, that you're going to get if you're playing this game a lot. So if you are going to spend money, the battle pass is really all you need to really get the most bang per buck out of this game. But on Reddit, we have a message right here from Jenny and the S-Dog. They said they actually messaged him on Discord and says he spent around $5,000. I always like to round it up more, because anytime I talk to a Whaler Crack and the variety of other games, they always lowball. I'm like, all right, actually double check. Sometimes it's like double. $5,000 sounds about right. In this game, you really can't spend a lot. So it's really $20 a day at most. You can really do the credits. I mean, you can technically max out, keep refreshing the missions and whatnot, but $5,000 sounds about right. But here's one thing that you got to look at. Are they really getting $5,000 worth of enjoyment? Everyone's got a different value when it comes to this game. But for me, I spent way less, and they only have maybe a couple more cards than I do. And a lot of those extra cards they have really aren't that much better. So, there's a couple cards, of course, you want Darkhawk, you want Null, Shuri, and stuff like that. But otherwise, it's a good chunk of money. But there are some other Krakens out there like Kraken Null, who has spent $15,000 buying a lot of variants in the shop. Now, for me, I don't understand buying variants in the shop, but there are some people that love to clean it out. And that's where things get a lot more expensive when you buy the variants. But if you want to max out your collection level, about $5,000 seems to be the deal. This Aaron guy says he strictly spends on credits, and that's if you are going to spend money, this is what I'd understand you spend money on the credits. Anything else, it's like okay, very cosmetic-y. So I don't know. I'm curious to see what you guys think. How are you guys enjoying the game? Because I hit Infinite, and I want to say this. This might be a little controversial because we're going to talk about a couple of Infinite things and problems that I have with Marvel Snap. I don't quite know if you need to be too concerned about hitting Infinite. I mean, hitting Galactic is cool. That's kind of like really the best rewards. Getting some credits is nice. But hitting Infinite is definitely it's just bragging rights. Let's say, yeah, you know the game. You spent a lot of time playing the game, yada, yada, yada. I think you could truly enjoy this game, not worry about spending $5,000, $15,000. Enjoy the game for what it is. Play for free. And you know what? You could get to Infinite. We have this little bonus meme at the end. You could get to Infinite even without spending money. You're just a little bit more limited on what you can do. And I wish the collector reserve system, I wish the collector token system was a little bit better in terms of getting cards. I played a lot of other games out there, and especially collection games. You'd have a shipment that would show you, 12 things that you can get. So 12 different cards that you can look at. It's like, all right, oh, I want that one. The fact that everything's just so random is one of the things that's holding this game back, I feel like, from being 100% enjoyable. But also, in the light of playing other games, this game is definitely better than a lot of other games in terms of the pay-to-win, free-to-play type of model they have going on. So it's kind of a little balancing act going on. But I do wish it would be a little bit easier getting what you want. And speaking of Infinite, I want to talk about this. This post kind of resonated with me a little bit. Now, I want to say, now that I hit Infinite, if you haven't hit Infinite, it's kind of a hard thing to understand. You can actually just play the game for fun, not care. You can't fall below Infinite. So I'm kind of done. And you feel like this weight lifted off your shoulder, and you can have fun, theory crap, experiment, get ready for the next season. What I like to do, if I see like a deck, because I'm running a lot of suboptimal decks right now, if I see I'm losing, I'll try to convince my opponent, hey, I'm losing, snap, and I just won't play anything, let them win. Unfortunately, not enough people are buying into it. It's like, I'm trying to give you 8 cubes. So I'm one trying to give cubes away. I'm playing just to kind of experiment, have fun. But if I'm losing, I'm not going to retreat. I'm going to give them all the cubes. Unless they're a leader player, you're not getting free cubes out of me. But this post resonated with me, and it's kind of another problem I had. We talked about the collectors or the being able to progress in this game with some understanding there's a linear progression, but there's no linear progression in this game. It's kind of everything's all over the place. This resonates with me, and I don't know, I could be in a minority here. I do agree with this post, though. Infinite players shouldn't be matched against non-infinite players. This is a post from Paselman a couple days ago. Some infinite players some infinite players doesn't apply to the same retreat logic as a player trying to get infinite, since they cannot be demoted. This is huge. I'll explain in a moment. I just had a match against a really, really dirty player where she was losing heavily, so I snapped by turn 4. She went to the end of the match and won by Gambit destroying my Devil Dino. I had 7 minutes to play and Lockjaw summoning Silver Surf from the deck, 1/3 change. Against those odds, a calming player would have probably retreated. I'm not mad. That was just amazingly random. So I had to fight a lot of people that hit Infinite this season before I hit Infinite. And I think what they're trying to get at here, I don't think they're salty because they lost. There's an element of the game that disappears once you're at Infinite. You don't have anything at stake anymore. It's like walking into a casino and you can gamble something you don't have. It's a lot different mentality. When it's your cubes on the line, it's holding you back from getting Infinite, you're going to be a lot more cautious when to snap, when to retreat. But like, as I just said, I'm playing Infinite. I rarely retreat anymore because I want to see a deck work all the way through. But I'm kind of in the minority of Infinite players, I think, that are willing to give away free cubes to the opponent. So that's the thing. I would never give free cubes if I'm below Infinite. Now that I'm past Infinite, I'll give out free cubes. So that's right there, I think, is something to consider. But the problem is, how do you do matchmaking afterwards? There's not a lot of people who get to Infinite, so the matchmaking pool is just going to be a lot smaller, which I think is what the problem is going to be. But I think this is a problem. I want as many people to feel like they can climb into the game as high as they can in a game, free to play, pay to play, whatever it might be. But I feel like this is a big problem right here. If you don't have anything on the line, you shouldn't be playing against someone who has something on the line. I hope that makes sense, what I'm trying to say there. But on this note, I'm going to wrap this video up right here. A lot of interesting stuff before we head into the weekend. I want to go give you a little bit of wisdom before we head out. So everyone who likes this video, we got a little bonus made for you guys today. Hope you enjoyed this video, and let's go ahead in 3, 2, 1, unveil the beast! I love this meme so much. We have this from Wincing a day ago. When the opponent is winning 3 locations by a landslide and snaps on the final turn, enjoy your 1 cube. Retreat now. The comments are golden here. One thing that's interesting, you really shouldn't be snapping last turn, because think about it. If probably this person would have stuck in the match and they would have lost 2 cubes, but because they snapped too late, the person left, they lost out on 1 cube. So snapping is so important in this game. I think it's Kenny Rogers. The song, you gotta know when to hold them. You gotta know when to fold them. Like that song applies to this game so much. The game really is, yes, having a good deck, but I think I can give a pull 3 and under deck, no Series 4, Series 5 cards. They could probably get the infinite still because they know when to snap, they know when to retreat, cut their losses, double down when the probabilities are at their end. That is the important part of this game. So if you are winning, you got to get snapping, you got to get that momentum going, and then you got to start putting that doubt in your opponent's mind. There's times I've snapped, tricked my opponent into thinking I got something good, and sometimes I got a bad hand. So that is the part of the game, bluffing and just knowing when you feasibly are going to win or lose, cut your losses. One thing I like to say as well on top of this is one of the weirdest games out there, I guess, because it's kind of like gambling, because you have cubes at stake. You can technically lose more games than win and still make it the infinite. You can lose 4 games but only lose 1 cube, and then you can win 1 game that has 8 cubes and you're at a positive, right? So this is one of the weirdest games there. So don't be mad if you lose. Winning 50% of the time, you can still get the infinite. That's how most people go. People are winning 60-50% of their matches, but those matches you win, you need to know you're on that win track. You gotta snap, climb the cubes from your opponents. And on that note, we're gonna wrap it up right there, ladies and gentlemen, across our beloved Kyber Empire. Thank you all so much for stopping by. Let me know your thoughts on all the stuff we got today. Be sure to like and subscribe to this ever-growing empire. And also, the most important thing, always remember that it's great to be in the empire today.